Welcome to the Enterprise AI Leadership Series. This presentation explores a challenge that many organizations are experiencing, but relatively few are discussing openly. Despite unprecedented advances in AI capability, enterprise-scale value realization remains elusive. The prevailing assumption is that the limitation lies in the technology itself. However, the evidence increasingly points elsewhere. The primary constraint is not the model. It is the organization's ability to absorb, govern, orchestrate, and operationalize what AI makes possible. Over the next few minutes, we'll examine why organizational readiness is becoming a more important differentiator than model sophistication, and why enterprise AI success is increasingly an operating model challenge rather than a technical one. If you find these enterprise AI discussions valuable, you may consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for future deep dives on leadership, transformation, and AI execution. The central issue facing enterprise AI today is what I call a capability-capacity asymmetry. AI capabilities are advancing at a pace that significantly exceeds most enterprise planning and transformation cycles. Every quarter brings stronger models, more autonomous agents, and greater reasoning capabilities. Meanwhile, governance structures, operating models, decision frameworks, and accountability mechanisms evolve far more slowly. The result is predictable. Organizations accumulate pilots, proofs of concept, and isolated successes, yet struggle to translate those achievements into enterprise-wide transformation. The technology moves forward, the institution struggles to keep pace, and the gap between capability and organizational readiness continues to widen. One of the strongest indicators of this challenge is the pilot paradox. Many organizations can demonstrate successful proofs of concept. They can showcase compelling demonstrations to leadership teams, and they can report strong model performance metrics. Yet very little of this translates into sustainable enterprise transformation. Why? Because enterprise AI does not operate inside controlled laboratory conditions. It operates inside complex organizations with legacy processes, multiple stakeholders, regulatory obligations, and competing priorities. The challenge is not proving that AI works. The challenge is redesigning the surrounding system so that AI-generated insights can consistently become organizational action. Most enterprise AI failures occur in what can be described as the last-mile failure layer. The model may be functioning correctly. The recommendation may be accurate. The insight may be valuable. But the organization lacks the mechanisms required to act on it. Ownership is fragmented. Approval chains create delays. Governance processes designed for human speed decision-making become bottlenecks. Incentives often discourage adoption rather than encourage it. And auditability gaps make accountability difficult to establish. The result is that AI outputs remain trapped within the organization instead of driving measurable outcomes. The failure is organizational. Most current governance programs remain heavily focused on the model layer. They monitor accuracy, drift, bias, and performance. These activities are important, but they are only part of the challenge. The larger question is decision governance. Who acts on the output? Under what authority? What happens when confidence levels fall? How are exceptions escalated? And who remains accountable for the outcome? As AI becomes increasingly embedded into enterprise workflows, governance must expand beyond model oversight and into decision flow oversight. Organizations that fail to make this transition will find that technical maturity alone does not create operational trust. The organizations extracting the greatest value from AI are not simply deploying better models. They are redesigning their operating models. They are clarifying decision rights before deployment. They are rebuilding workflows around AI-native execution patterns. They are implementing telemetry systems that provide visibility into how decisions are made and acted upon. Risk management becomes embedded into execution rather than added later as a compliance exercise. Most importantly, they establish accountability structures that clearly define ownership of outcomes. In other words, they redesign the institution around AI, rather than attempting to bolt AI onto existing structures. Regulated industries provide a useful glimpse into the future of enterprise AI governance. Banking and insurance organizations are often perceived as moving more slowly. In reality, they have been forced to develop governance disciplines that many other sectors are only beginning to consider. Explainability, resilience, and auditability are not optional requirements. They are operational necessities. As regulators increase their expectations around AI accountability, the governance practices emerging within BFSI are likely to become standard enterprise requirements across industries. What is mandatory in banking today may become expected everywhere tomorrow. Over the next decade, competitive advantage is unlikely to come from access to models alone. Model capabilities are rapidly converging. Increasingly capable AI will be available to most organizations. What will remain difficult to replicate is institutional adaptability. The ability to convert AI outputs into auditable, scalable, accountable decision systems cannot be purchased off the shelf. It requires governance maturity, it requires orchestration capability, and it requires organizational alignment. The enterprises that master these capabilities will create a structural advantage that compounds over time. The future of enterprise AI is not model-centric. It is orchestration-centric. Success will depend on how effectively organizations connect data, models, decisions, actions, and feedback loops into a single governed system. Every layer must work together. Data informs models. Models inform decisions. Decisions trigger actions. Actions generate outcomes. And outcomes continuously improve both governance and performance. The winning organizations will not necessarily have the most advanced models. They will have the most effective orchestration systems for turning intelligence into execution. As we conclude, one message stands out. Enterprise AI transformation is becoming less constrained by model capability and more constrained by institutional readiness. The organizations that succeed will be those that industrialize governance, orchestration, and accountability before their competitors. These capabilities create the foundation for trustworthy, scalable AI adoption. Models will continue to improve. That is inevitable. The real strategic question is whether our organizations can evolve quickly enough to operationalize those capabilities at scale. In the years ahead, the most durable competitive advantage will belong to enterprises that redesign themselves as effectively as they deploy AI.